In this lecture, we're going to be discussing marketing on the web. This lecture is going to be sectioned off into two parts. This is part one. If you're following along in your textbook, Electronic Commerce by Gary P. Schneider, it's going to be pages 161 through 177. So let's begin with our module level learning objectives for Module 4. 1. Describe the use and effectiveness of product-based and customer-based marketing strategies. 2. Analyze strategies for communicating with different market segments. 3. Understand online advertising development and growth and email marketing strategies and brand maintenance in e-commerce. 4. Explain technology-enabled customer relationship management and the customer relationship lifecycle. And 5. Understand search engine positioning tactics. Let's begin with the 4 P's of marketing. And this goes beyond electronic commerce. These are just the 4 P's of marketing that apply to marketing in general. So those are product, price, promotion, and place. So product is the physical item or service that's sold, and the brand is the customer's product perception. Price is the amount customer pays for the product, and customer value is customer benefits minus the total cost. Promotion includes any means of spreading the words about the product, think like advertising, etc. And place is distribution and is the need to have that product or services available in many different locations. Getting the right product to the right places at the best time to sell is kind of one of the bigger logistic issues that companies face, whether it be in store, of making sure that you have the right amount of products in the right store at the right time, or making sure that you have the right amount of products in each warehouse for distribution to take place. When we talk about marketing strategies, there's 2 main types. There's product-based marketing and there is customer-based marketing. Product-based marketing strategies work well for things where customers are already thinking in product categories, and managers often think in terms of products and services sold in those categories as well. An example would be office supplies. If you needed to order some copier paper, you would go to an office supply store such as Office Depot, and you would click through the categories to find the copier paper that you need in the right size of package. It makes it very easy to organize and keep inventory, and that's the same as when stores are set up that way. It's not an efficient website design for customers to browse though. So if customers need to browse something or they're not sure what they need, often a customer-based marketing strategy would work well. And this goes beyond websites. So in customer-based marketing, websites are designed to meet various types of customers' needs. And the initial step in that is to identify your customer groups that share common characteristics, which are called demographics. You can make the site more accessible and useful for each group. An example of this would be a university website. So if you go to a university website, you're going to have a different experience on that website depending on what type of stakeholder you are. If you're a current student or a prospective student, a parent of a student, or a potential donor, or a faculty member. If you are a prospective student and you go to a university website, you're going to want to see information about what makes that university great, why you should choose that university, what degrees they offer, how much it costs, all of those things. If you're a current student and you go to the university website, you're going to want to be able to find links to the things that you need. Information like logging into Blackboard or getting to your student email account, links to get to the financial aid office, tutoring, everything that you might need while you're currently at the university. And so those are just very different paths that you would take on the same website. And so when a company, in this example a university, is building the site, they need to think about what path they want different segments to take. How we communicate with different market segments is very important. Media selection or choosing where to market and advertise a company can be critical for an online-only firm. Since there's no physical presence, there's no real way for a customer to have a connection with that business except through its website. And so the only customer contact that they will have is through the image projected through media and through the website. So an online-only firm has a challenge to obtain customer trust with no physical presence. So we can see why market segmentation and demographics are important in marketing, and let's look at what market segmentation is and how we get there. So market segmentation divides potential customers into pools of segments defined by customer characteristics. Micro-marketing is the practice of targeting very small market segments, and that can be costly, but online marketing actually makes it a little easier to do than it would be in person. So the three categories to identify market segments are going to be geographic segmentation, demographic segmentation, and psychographic segmentation. We can use all three, especially online. It's very easy to use all three. And so the working on the web presents an opportunity for different store environments for different customers. So like we talked about on the example of the university website, you can do that for a website that is also selling a different type of product, whether it be an inventory type good or a service. When we look at geographic segmentation, that's exactly what it sounds like. That's where people live. So that could be keeping your online business to a specific country, to a specific region of that country, to a specific town. Demographic segmentation is going to look at things such as age, ethnicity, other characteristics that people would use to describe themselves at times, or that put them in groups of people that have the same common interests. While retail stores have very limited floor space and display space, online you can have as much space as you'd like. And so web stores can provide separate virtual spaces for different market segments. Market segmentation can meet the needs of a group of customers and provide an experience for them. Now, one-to-one marketing offers products and services matched to meet the needs of a particular customer. And that's going to be a lot more expensive to provide that for just one specific customer as opposed to a group of customers. With segmentation, it's important to consider customer behavior. The same person requires different combinations of products and services depending on the occasion. Behavioral segmentation is the creation of separate customer experiences based on behavior. And so it can be called occasion segmentation when it's based on things happening at a specific time or occasion. So it's much easier in the online world to design a single website that meets the needs of visitors in different behavioral modes. So customizing visitor experience to match site usage or visitor type usage is based on market segmentation. Other issues that are faced in marketing online is trust, complexity, and media choice. So the web is very broad. It's an intermediate step between mass media and personal contact. In mass media, those are things like radio ads that are just broadcast out to everybody. Maybe some person will absorb it. And it's a very passive form of advertising. And then personal contact is one-on-one. It's very involved. And so online is right in between that. Web communication offers advantages of personal contact selling with mass media cost savings. So mass media advertising offers the lowest trust level, but many companies still use it because it's affordable. Product complexity is a factor in media choice. If it's something that's very easy to describe in mass media and it's very easy to get the information out there, it doesn't take customers very long to understand what the product or service is, then that fits more for mass media. Now, if it's a very complex service that's being offered or a very complex good, that's going to be something that is going to need a little more explanation. Maybe not something that someone's going to fully absorb as they're driving down the road and they hear half a radio ad. But online, you have the opportunity to present more information and engage with the customer more so that they can absorb that information more, because they're not in a passive state at that time. They're actively engaged in whatever it is they're doing online. So many companies will use blogs to communicate, or they will also work with someone who has a blog. But those blogs and social media allow companies to engage in two-way communication. that more closely resembles the high trust personal contact communication mode. So online, we can look at customers in three ways: browsers, buyers, and shoppers. Browsers are some visitors just surf and browse websites. You just ended up there. You're not even looking for a product or service. You're just clicking through because it looked interesting. A website must offer something to pique that visitor's interest. And it needs, some trigger words that will prompt visitors to stay and investigate the products or services as opposed to just clicking out of it. This can include extra content related to products and services. You're going to want something that will create a good impression on the customer, a favorable impression, and that way they're more likely to buy or bookmark the site or remember to return later or to download the app so that they can continue to communicate with your company. And then the next category is buyers. So they are ready to make a purchase. For example, with the example I gave earlier with needing copier paper. I need copier paper. I type into Google office supplies. I click the first website that pops up. It looks like a website for a company that I trust. I'm not just browsing because I don't have that much interest in copier paper. I just need to make a purchase. And so those customers are ready to make the purchase right away. So the site should offer a direct route to a purchase transaction. As a business, we need to make sure that if our buyers want to buy, that we have the products available and in a way that they can quickly make that transaction so they don't go to a different site. The shopping cart is part of the website that keeps track of the items selected for purchase and automates the purchase process. The primary goal is to get the buyer to the shopping cart as quickly as possible so they complete the purchase. Think about how many things you've left in shopping carts online. As a business, you need to figure out what is stopping your customers from making that purchase. Did I go to the shopping cart and the shipping charges were very unclear and I couldn't figure out how much I was actually going to pay? Did I go to the shopping cart and there were too many forms to fill out? Did I go to the shopping cart and it said the item was out of stock? Did I get to the shopping cart and putting in my financial information was going to be too difficult? Because customers have many reasons that they leave a shopping cart, and sometimes they just get distracted. So there are things that you can do as a business, though, to help them come back to their shopping cart. Things like making the purchase fast, partnering with a site like PayPal so that they can click real quick, just a couple clicks, and they're done. They don't have to fill out all of the customer information again. Okay, and that takes us to our third category, which are shoppers. So shoppers are motivated to buy, but they're looking for more information before they purchase. You can offer comparison tools, product reviews, and feature lists. People may visit a website one day as a browser and then return later as a shopper or a buyer. So people do not retain the same behavioral categories from one visit to the next, or even from one website to the next. So shoppers are going to be, if you're looking to purchase a laptop, you're probably not going to just go click, you're done. It's not as simple as buying copier paper because it's a higher priced item. It takes a little more research. You're going to want to make sure that you're getting a good deal and getting a quality product because you're going to need to use it for quite some time. We need to remember that customers can be browsers, buyers, or shoppers, and they're all of them sometimes at the same time. You can have someone who just came to your website as a browser that now becomes a shopper, and they're looking at all the information so that they can know know more about your products and what makes your company more reputable or better than the other options they have available, and then they can become a buyer. And if you create enough trust with your customers and a good relationship, then your browsers become shoppers, become buyers, and you can keep them as buyers that come back to your website. So we just looked at those three categories. Let's look at an alternative model that has 6 categories, and that's going to be McKinsey & Company's 6 behavior-based categories. 1 are simplifiers. Those are there for convenience. Then you have surfers, which find information, explore ideas, or shop. You have bargainers, which are searching for a good deal. You have connectors who want to stay in touch with other people. You have routiners who return to the same site over and over. And you have sportsters, which spend time on sports, entertainment sites, etc. You have to identify the groups and formulate ways to generate revenue from each of these groups. If you are a company who just only focuses on just the bargainers who are just there for a good deal, you might miss out on some of the connectors or the routiners or the simplifiers. In figure 4-4 on page 172, you can see how that breaks down into examples of category, online objective, and website characteristics for this 6-category model. Now let's look at customer relationship intensity and lifecycle segmentation. So one-to-one marketing and usage-based segmentation strengthen a company's relationship with its customers. Touchpoints are online and offline customer contact points. The goal of providing similar level and quality of service at all touchpoints is touchpoint consistency. Good customer experiences create a feeling of intense loyalty. A typical 5-stage model of customer loyalty follows awareness, exploration, familiarity, commitment, and separation. Separation being the very last stage, which is the part we don't necessarily always want to get to, but it does take place. So awareness is that the customer recognizes the company name and the product. Exploration is the customer learns more about the company and the products. Familiarity is customers have completed several transactions, they're aware of returns and credit policies, they're aware of pricing flexibility, but they're still just as likely to shop other competitors, even though they're very familiar with your company. Now, commitment is the next place, and this is where we want to get and keep our customers for the longest amount of time. Commitment is customers experience highly satisfactory encounters, and they develop a fierce loyalty or strong preference for your company. Now, the last stage is going to be separation. And in separation, that's the last stage of the relationship. And conditions have made the relationship, less valuable, and the relationship ends. And that can be the customer ending the relationship or the business. Generally, it's the customer. A customer decides that they no longer need the product or service. They decide that they are interested in another company, or sometimes there could be a negative effect that happens due to media or due to something that the company does. So that's why it's important to continue your customer relationship as long as you can and to try to stay favorable to your customers. So the goal is to move customers to the commitment stage as quickly as possible and then keep them there as long as possible. So how do we get the customers so that we can get them into that commitment stage? How do we find the customers? That's called customer acquisition. And those are ways that potential customers find websites usually. And so that can be a referral from a friend, it can be a link from a referring website, a referral from an affiliated marketing partner, the site's URL in print advertising or television, or even an unintentional visit after mistyping a similar URL. If you look at figure 4-6 on page 176, you can see a pictorial representation of the funnel model, which we'll talk about. The funnel model is a conceptual tool used to understand the overall nature of marketing strategy. It also provides a clear structure for evaluating specific strategy elements. So similar to the customer life cycle model, but much less abstract. So if we look at the funnel model, when we are showing our ads to say 500,000 people, then about 10,000 people actually become website visitors, and then that's funneling in to people who go to the website, they evaluate the website, they make a purchase, and then that's the conversion of big group of people to shoppers. And so we want to hope that they move into shoppers, that they go ahead and make purchases with our website for products or services, that they get involved with our company, and that they become loyal customers. But you're going to start with a large group of people and it funnels down into just a few. Acquiring and retaining customers can be expensive, and for some companies it's not as important for them to retain customers Sometimes they're selling an item that it's okay if a customer only purchases it once. However, if you have a service or some type of product that you want them to continue to purchase more of, you're going to want to retain your customers. So the benefits of acquiring new visitors are different for websites with different types of revenue models. The acquisition cost is the amount of money spent to bring in one customer to the website. And so that's not just the cost of advertising, that's the cost of everything it takes to bring in just one customer. Conversion is converting a visitor to a customer. Conversion cost is the total amount of money the site spends to introduce a visitor to a purchase, subscribe, or register. Retained customers return to the site after the purchase. Retention cost is the cost of introducing customers to return to the website and buy again. We want our customers to purchase the product again. We want our customers to refer to their friends. That's how businesses grow. And so you want to acquire the customers and retain the customers. What you do in electronic commerce to retain them can vary in many ways. It can have to do with the advertising, it can have to do with the customer service, and it can have to do with the product itself. Oftentimes we look kind of at the customer-based strategy because we want to be thinking about what the customer wants and meeting the needs of the customer. If a product doesn't meet the needs of the customer, product or service, the customer is not likely to return. They're likely to tell people that it didn't meet their needs, and your business will struggle. And so it's very important to think about those things as you're thinking about marketing on the web. And that concludes this portion. For more about marketing on the web, please watch part 2, which will cover pages 177 of the textbook to the end of the chapter.